JPWHUTV. My name is John, your host. As always, we've got a very, very special guest today. He's only just introduced himself into the West Ham world properly, as you can see from the screen next to me here. This geezer here, Jake. How are you, Jake? How are you?
Not too bad, thanks. Thanks for having me.
No, you're more than welcome. It's great to talk to you. Before we go any further, oh god, hang on. So I got some feedback going on here. That shouldn't have happened. Oh, right, there we go. Sorry, yeah. So yeah, before we go any further, I just need to do a quick shout out to the channel sponsor once I get the branding up. Yeah, there you go. 3retro.com. Please click. That's the one. Yep, perfect. Thank you, mate. Thanks for pointing it out. Literally pointing it out. Please click the link in the description below that will take you directly through to the West Ham section of their website, where you can purchase retro kits from the 60s all the way through to the early 2000s, including the 1976 home kit that inspired the shirt that Jake's actually wearing, which is the home shirt for this season, and also the 1980 FA Cup final shirt, which inspired our away kit for this season as well. There's also Admiral and Umbro track jackets, polo shirts, sweatshirts, and t-shirts in there in West Ham colours, so go check those out. But guys, you don't have to just look at those themselves. Anything you can look through there. There's some very, very nice England retro gear in there as well, and some really, really nice other European and domestic league retro shirts as well. There's a very nice Ian Rush LFC one that's just come out recently, and obviously there's loads of others, so go check those out. Any purchases made through the link in the description below for the next 17 purchases will be going directly to Isla's fight. So come on, guys, we've only got about 11 quid to send over to him at the minute, so come on, let's get some more money over there. Right, so Jake, your starter for 10. But seriously, mate, let's just start off with everything here. So tell us first and foremost how you got into West Ham.
Yeah, well, obviously I put this tweet out because I thought it was, I don't really know why I put this tweet out, really. I was just a bit bored and thought I'd have a little chat about how I ended up choosing West Ham as a club that I'd support. So growing up, I was never into football at all, or any sort of sport. I just didn't play it. I was dreadful at anything I tried, and I just couldn't be arsed with it. And then back in 2007, my gramps died, and just shooting questions around when I was 10, I was like, "Oh, did he? What sports did he like other than golf?" Oh, he liked football. He supported West Ham, and then so from what on. Whenever anybody said, "Oh, who do you support when it comes to football?" just so I can make up conversation, I go, "Oh, West Ham, someone's got you." And then sort of it came to about World Cup last summer now, and started watching football again with my mates because they were all been in football for a while. And I was like, "Do you know what? This could be a pretty good hobby. This would give me something to do other than work." And it was coming up to the start of the next season, and I was like, because all my mates support Liverpool,
right?
Because bless them. And I was like, "Oh, well, do I follow them?" And I couldn't do it at all. I was like, there's no part of me that wants to follow Liverpool whatsoever. So I bought the season shirt then and there, and that was me started being a proper West Ham fan, I suppose. Before that, I'd sort of loosely followed what West Ham were doing, but never really looked at it, and then turned it into this season where so far I've only missed one game. So that's pretty much how I became a West Ham fan.
All right, sweet. So that's a really interesting story. So as you say, it's only been relatively recently. So what was your first West Ham game that you attended?
My first West Ham game that I attended was Arsenal at home last season, where obviously we saw Declan Rice's first goal in claret and blue, and couldn't have asked for a better first game to go to. That was really something else. And I loved it. It was such a great day out. I went up with, I say that's my first West Ham game. The first real West Ham game I suppose I went to would have been the under-23 squad.
Right.
When they went to, when I can think, they came down to Yeovil for the Checkatrade Trophy, and they got just murdered, really. It was, I think, 4-0 or something, and it was an interesting day out, but there wasn't much to celebrate at the end of that. But I met a guy from Yeovil who was a season ticket holder, and he said, "Oh well, you know, whenever we've got a spare season ticket in our group, we'll give you a shout and you can come up with us." And that's how I ended up going up for this Arsenal game. So yeah, that was really sort of my first taste of actually going to watch West Ham, which was brilliant.
So what was the most appealing thing for it? Because if that was last season, that would have been the 1-0 the 1-0 victory with Declan Rice, wouldn't it?
It was, yeah. The most appealing part of the game I went to see, or the reason I went up for that game?
No, just both. I mean,
obviously,
you know, obviously, yeah, the reason why you went to it, but also how you felt being in the London Stadium for the first time, being surrounded by 58,000 supporters, etc., etc.
You really broke up there on my. I didn't catch a word of that, I'm afraid.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, I'm having a bit of trouble for some reason tonight. Just basically, just what you were, how you felt going in London Stadium, being, sitting or standing where you were, watching the game, etc., that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, previously, so before I was able to get to the Arsenal game last Christmas, me and my other half went up for a weekend in London, and I managed to talk her into doing a stadium tour. And so I'd already been sort of around the ground and obviously walked through the tunnel and all that, which was brilliant. And going up for this first game, I was like, oh, it's going to be great. But seeing the stadium again, it's like, it's not going to be as special as it would have been had I gone up for my first game. Excuse me. But then when we got there, it was a completely different story. It was match day, so there was thousands of people walking around. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? This is mad, trying to keep up with the people who knew where they were going. And then just going, look, if we get lost, go to the Big Bell. And me going, where's the Big Bell? Then walking into our seats and sort of like looking down onto the pitch. And as we walked out for that first game, I remember I saw Nove straight away on the pitch. And I was like, what? This is mental. Because I suppose really coming back into it, when I first sat down to start watching football last season, the only person I really had any sort of idea about was Mark Noble. And so seeing him down there, I was like, well, this is cool. And then I was going with these sort of pre-built-in ideas that the stadium was going to be dead quiet and there's going to be no atmosphere whatsoever. And I suppose I'm lucky in the sense that I never got to go to Upton Park or the Bowl-In because I don't have anything to base it on. So I went in, I was going, actually, this isn't that bad. And then Declan Rice obviously scored his goal. And I don't even know what happened. Like in that little moment, I couldn't tell you how I reacted because I can't remember.
Well, you don't need to, mate. I mean, if I'm your reaction would have been pretty much exactly the same as the rest of us. I should imagine that place went mental because it was his first goal, and I know he hasn't progressed properly through the ranks in terms of how like Joe Cole and Rio Ferdinand, etc. But for the last couple of seasons, he was in our juniors, and then he pushed his way through and established himself last season in the first squad, and then bam, he scores that goal against Arsenal. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I mean, yeah, to be honest with you, mate, there's only two goals I don't remember from last season. One is Declan Rice's goal against Arsenal, and one is Antonio's goal against Spurs away. Because when that hit the back of the net, I have no memory for about 30 seconds. It was just all over the place. We were brilliant. It was just to be honest with you, mate, the way that West Ham introduced you to West Ham that's the best way. That really, really is the best way. But in terms of how you got into West Ham itself, I mean, was it kind of just like a conscious thing, or just thought, well, I'll go and see how West Ham have been doing before you actually got to see a game? I mean, how did you get into the family way?
Well, when it came down to it, and I was going to say, right, this is clearly now I'm enjoying watching football. Start going out and having a kick about with mates. I was like, right, I'm a football fan. So who am I going to watch? And I had my mates on one shoulder, obviously going, oh, it's all right, just support Liverpool with us. But I had this tiny little voice on the other side of my shoulder that was like, you've somewhat followed West Ham quietly the last couple of years. And there was just no, couldn't even imagine supporting a different club. Even back then, when I was fairly new to being a football fan, the idea of supporting anyone else just didn't sit right at all. And there was really no choice in it for me whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I can understand that, mate. I mean, as we were talking off cameras, fourth generation family didn't really didn't like football itself. I mean, you know, we used to watch the England games and whatnot, but mum's side of the family that were from Barking. That's how we got into. That's how the whole family got into it. Right from our great granddad used to work for Thames Ironworks. So, but you know, it was very difficult for me to be able to try and catch any West Ham at home. And to be honest with you, the only time I really was able to watch West Ham at home on the telly from in living memory was the 2006 FA Cup campaign. That was about the only time Mum actually let us watch it. I used to listen to it on the radio. Used to talk to my uncles about it when I was younger and stuff. But yeah, the first time for me, like for example, my first time when I saw was Macclesfield Town in the League Cup. At the bowling, first time I'd ever properly been in there. I've been past it a few times when I was a kid, but never actually got a chance to go in. And you know, it wasn't the best of games, to be honest, but it was brilliant watching the likes of Dean Ashton and Carlton Cole setting the place alight that they were doing. Stanislas, if I remember correctly, scored in that game as well, I think, or one of the juniors. But it was just, yeah, I just loved it. Loved the buzz of the stadium. I just loved the songs that were being sung, the banter between the mates I could hear around them, and pick the songs and stuff that were being sung to the away fans. It was brilliant, and I was the same as you, mate. I was absolutely hooked right from then. So for the games that you've been going to for the last season or so, out of last season, because we'll come to this season in a minute. Out of last season, what was the most favourite game that you were able to attend, or was it literally just that Arsenal game?
I only managed to get to 2 games last season, and that was obviously the Arsenal at home and Newcastle at home. And I'd say really they're both my favourites in different ways. Arsenal, for the actual football, was my favourite purely because it was Declan Rice's first goal. Of course, my second game I ever went to was Declan Rice's second goal as well.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah,
a little bit of a lucky charm. But then I'd say the Newcastle game was my favourite because we were trying to. I'm always trying to raise money to get my dad. My dad's only got one arm, and I'm always trying to sort of if we can raise money to get him one of these new open bionic arms, then I'm happy. So I was like, oh, we got some time. We had a hotel, so we sat around and waited at the players' exit and got a couple of signatures for a program, which I've now shipped off to Gio ages back when he did the 24-hour live stream.
Yeah, for Isla's fight.
Yeah, because I couldn't shift it on, so I was like, oh well, I'll give it to these guys and they can use it to raise money. But yeah, I managed to meet. So I think it was Issa Diop came out first, and I was like, what is going on? I'm stood at the players' exit. I should be expecting. Whoa, hold on. So yeah, I met Issa Diop, Fabianski, and then Mark Noble obviously came out last, and I was like, wow, this is something. Got to chat to him for a couple of minutes and carried on. So that was sort of my favourite for off the pitch moments, and the Arsenal game was my favourite for on the pitch moments.
Oh, brilliant. I've got a selfie with Noble when we were at the bowling. I was able to grab him when me and my mates were coming out of the supporters club. It's not the best of photos, to be honest, because I wasn't exactly sober. But it's, but yeah, I've got it. I've still got it somewhere. But yeah, it's not the best. But it's great when you see him up close and get the chance to talk to him, just even for like say for a minute or so. It's absolutely brilliant. So obviously, with the season just gone, overall, how do you feel that the season went?
Coming from my point of view, and not at that time having sort of, I'd say, a knowledge of football I have now, it's still not great, but back then it was dreadful. I was having this spouted in my ear and this spouted in my ear from other West Ham fans that I know dotted about where I live, and I was going like, "Whoa, we're real contenders here. We're going to get something big out of this season." Every week, the same people going, "They're a completely new squad. All right, give them time. They got a gel." So I was going, "Look, lads, don't worry. They're a new squad. They've got a gel." And it took a while for them to gel. I think, given all the obstacles that we sort of had as a club, we performed really well. To not be fighting relegation, to be sat comfortably mid-table, I think for a new manager's first season with quite a big lot of new players coming in, I think we could have done better. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen cup runs taken a little bit more seriously. But overall, I'd say I'm happy at the least. I'm not upset. I'm not ecstatic. It will do this year. Let's start seeing a little bit of progression.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because when the summer transfer window closed last season, I said no, we would finish 10th, no higher than 9th. So it's for me, and for a lot of actual, legitimate West Ham supporters. It's everybody's happy with what happened last season. You've come across what you just said there. You've come across the two of the three bands of fans that I always say we've got, right? Or all football fans of all clubs for that matter have got. You got one third of the supporter base that will be, we're going to win everything. That's great. We're going to get an effort. We're going to win the FA Cup. We're going to get to the league, etc., etc. You got the medium. You got the second third, which is basically supporters that think, let's see how we get on, and and just take it game at a time. That the manager mentality, and then the third one is, we're shit. We're going to get relegated. We're not going to win it. We're going to do nothing. You don't have anything else in football at all.
Yeah.
There are no other ways, guys. For the ones that everybody that's in the live chat at the moment, I obviously welcome. It's great to see you guys talking. For some random reason, StreamYard isn't showing the ability to show up the comments. The comments aren't showing up on the side whatsoever, but I'm looking on YouTube itself to see what the comments are. And mate, I wish I could show this up to you, Jake. I really, really could, because Damien Russell says, hi Jake, doing a good job, matey. So that's great that you've got such support already. So that's very, very good.
That'll be Damo from the Siderammers, who I go up with every now and again. The group from Yeovil and Cornwall, the ones who I met at the under-23 games. So I dropped them the link, and they've clearly come on through to say hello.
All right, well, good. It's always good to have people from as far afield as possible watching your channel, as always. Talking of far afield, JPWHU, who's been on previously, he's asked a question. We're going to go into a little bit later about Hernandez. But guys, in the meantime, by all means, put your answers down in the chat of what Mark has asked. So that brings us on quite nicely, Jake, to the transfer window. Now, obviously, we didn't do a lot of work in terms of bringing people in. We let a few people go. A few, like for example, we got Andy Carroll was released. Adrian was released as well. Nasri was released. What else? Just a few other little things here and there. Like for example, Fernandez being sold. Lucas Perez as well, for that matter.
Yeah.
Of all the business that we did this summer, both the sales releases and who we bought in, how do you think the summer went?
I think it was a fairly mixed summer. I think looking back, I think everybody who was let go for a reason. And as we've seen with Arnautovic, we don't want people in West Ham who don't want to be in West Ham, because there is that opportunity for them to kick up, get upset, and then we see another scenario like we've seen then, which isn't good for the club, the players, the manager. So it's just not good for anyone. And I think that was probably the reason why we saw most people maybe leaving, because they weren't going to be getting the time they wanted.
Yeah.
Bringing people in, I think that we've done a brilliant job, a brilliant piece of business with Allaire. I can't fault the guy so far. If he continues to play, because like you said, he thinks he's been playing bad. But if he wants to play bad like that for the rest of the season, crack on, fella. Have a half day. Keep doing that. Like, he's been a cracking bit of business for the club.
100%.
I think it's
Sorry, go on,
good
mate.
and bad, really. Adrian is one for me who I loved as this sort of cult icon who was there when I came into the club, with his history and the whole taking off his gloves at the Everton shootout and this sort of stuff. I was like, this guy is, and he was a brilliant person to have on our bench, and someone who we could sort of semi-trust, but also give us a bit of excitement, because you don't know what's going to happen if you pass the ball back to him.
Absolutely.
He was a real character, and when it came clear that he was obviously going to be leaving to try and find first team football somewhere, I was quite sad, but I was like, yeah, fair enough. You completely deserve first team football somewhere else, and I was quite happy that he was going to go and get that. Obviously, how that carried on and how his story ended up was quite a surprise. I never really saw him getting first team football at Liverpool at the moment, but fair play to him. He's doing all right, and he can be someone else's favourite backup keeper now.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, mate. I agree with you 100% when it comes to Adrian. I love the bloke. He used to give me palpitations a lot when he was on the ball, and Liverpool have already seen this when they played Southampton a couple of weeks back. But it was 60 grand a week for your a backup goalkeeper is a lot of money. I know. I mean, don't get me wrong, that Roberto and Martin are on the same on 50% of that each, but it was I agree, he is a cult hero, not just for that famous night against Everton, 100% for that.
No.
But there's also other stuff that he's done. He's I'd say as an outsider, in terms of someone who hasn't come through the ranks like Noble, I reckon for me personally, I rank him up there with Ginge, because he loved the club. He used to get so animated when we would score, and it was brilliant, and that's what everybody loved about him. But it brings us on nicely, obviously, to the news that was announced yesterday, that Hernandez was sold to Sevilla for. Depending on what you read, I mean, David Gold said it was an undisclosed fee, which it can't be, because when the accounts come out for next summer, we'll have to for this season, they have to disclose how much they sold them for. But not them specifically, but how much they made on players. But what were your thoughts on Hernandez, not just on his sale, but him as a player?
I think he did a fantastic job coming off the bench and being that impact on occasions where we'd need him. I think anytime I've seen him start, he was sort of good, maybe a little bit more stroppy if he's starting, because he's not getting that sort of service where everyone else is expecting him. So, like, right, he's come on, it's the last 15 minutes, let's get the ball to Cheech. Sorted. It's more of a game of him sort of like trying to be in the right place and maybe not being in the right place, or just not getting maybe the service that he would need to get the goals. I don't think really. It's one of those. I would have loved to have seen him stay at the club and continue coming on as an impact sub. But again, if that's not what he wants, and if he doesn't want to stay here and sit on the bench and hope he's going to come on in the last 15 minutes, then it's another huge wage bill off our books, and another player who doesn't want to be here, who's not going to have the chance to kick up a fuss and sort of make hassle for the club again. It leaves us a bit stuck in it, at least until January, but we'll crack on. He's absolutely saved us sometimes, but if he doesn't want to be there, then we'll find somebody else who can do the job the same as, if not better.
Yeah, I mean, I see your point there, mate. I mean, because for me, Hernandez was a massively wasted talent. Massively
Yeah,
wasted talent. Everybody's like Gio and Gonzo and the guys on West Ham Fan TV have lax lyrical about it the last few days, obviously, because it's quite a big thing. He was on 130 grand a week. He was on the last year of his contract. He was a fan favourite for the majority. Ignore what's on Twitter. He was a fan favourite for a long time. For the short period of time, I should say, that he was with us. I do feel sorry for the bloke because at the end of the day, he was brought in to play a certain way, and then we had two managers leave since he was brought in, and then therefore the style of play slowly evolved to not sidelining him exactly, but not to play to his strengths either. And I feel really sorry for the bloke. However, what I will always respect him for is what he's done. He always played with a smile on his face. He always tried to gave his utmost best. Yes, he didn't get the ball the whole time, but his goal to minute ratio. There's only one player that's scored more goals in less time, and that's Dean Ashton.
yeah.
I know Dino was with us for a lot longer period of time, but you look at it on cult for for like. This is what people forget about Hernandez. It's just how good he was when he played. His movement wasn't always brilliant, as I say. He didn't always get the balls that he needed, but when he got what he needed, 95% of the time he was scoring. And this is just what annoys me about people, how quickly they forget. Now, it was interesting to see earlier today that the Sevilla owner said he was so impressed by Javier that he was winning because he took a 92 grand a week pay cut to go there. No one else has ever done anything remotely like that. Obviously, with the exception of Mido when we had him a few seasons ago when he was on a grand a week, right at the end of his career, and I do mean the arse end of his career. But you see, the thing is that what gets me, what I'm worried about, is what's happened in the build up to him going. The fact that we rejected 2 or 3 bids. He put his transfer request in on Thursday to basically force the move through. Didn't kick up a fuss. Fair play to him. He didn't do a Payet, didn't do an Arnautovic. He didn't sulk. He scored the goal at your away game, which we'll come on to in a moment. But it was just it's just this little niggle about what happened. The reason why I wasn't in the Brighton squad, to say that he was, because it first came out that he had a stomach bug, and then it came out that he had a knee injury. In your opinion, Jake, do you think that's actually legitimately genuine that he was officially injured, but then again he leaves 2 or 3 days later?
You cut up there for the majority of that. Well, for all of that, I didn't really get any of that, I'm afraid.
All right, mate. I'll repeat it. So with Fernandez, right? Because the reason why he didn't play at Brighton was originally that he had a stomach bug, and then it turned into a knee injury, and then he came on at Watford, and then he had another injury, and then he was sold. That doesn't feel right to me. What do you reckon?
Yeah, so I think you're saying there seem to be quite a few little changes in the reasons why we didn't have Cheech playing. Really, I never looked that deep into it. It was the same as or I saw parallels in it as to when we had Arnautovic kicking up a stink, and he had a cold this week, so he can't turn up, or he shat the bed this morning, so he's not coming in. It was a little bit the same of that to me, and like I say, either I'm being thick, or I remember there being talk that obviously didn't want to be here. He was looking to move on back a ways, so I was always expecting us to get rid of him in January and see a new option. Now, when we were at Newport away and we had a Jetty playing, one of the other guys near me was like, he seems like a little bit of like a tap-in merchant. This is a Jetty, and I sort of said, well, maybe we're sort of getting him in early so that he can gel with the squad before we lose. Around January, and he'll be that sort of come off the bench, make that impact, and that'll be his job. And obviously, it's all gone a bit more quick than I expected it to now. But yeah, with those injuries dotting about, I never really took much notice of it because I saw it as being sort of the same thing as that we had with Arnautovic. So yeah, that's probably my answer to that one.
Okay, that's fine. Unfortunately, it wasn't the case with that because with Arnautovic, he was kicking up the stink big time, as you said. But Hernandez did say in the summer transfer window that he had an agreement with West Ham that should the right move come, they would let him go. Which I said when that news broke, I said that's really interesting because we're not really focusing on strikers at the minute. And it's you're 100% right, mate. Though it has left us in a bit of a bind, definitely. There was some information floating around. A lot of it was false, as it always turns up. But there's also apparently Pellegrini rejected three free signings as well. Now, the interesting thing when that story broke earlier, was it late last night, was the so-called source didn't mention who the players were. Normally, when that sort of that story comes out, that there's a bit of a link between. So that we turn, it could be anybody. It could be we could have turned down Maega because he's free, and funny enough, it's his birthday again today. Musa Maega's available on a free. There's other players, but so it's all a little bit it's all a little bit cloak and daggers, really. Bearing in mind that when Pellegrini was interviewed after the Norwich game, he did say that he's a very, very vital player to the squad, but he's just out injured. But if he's sold, we'll see. If the big comes in, we'll see what happens. It sounds to me that he's Pellegrini's had his arm twisted to sell him, to get rid of him, because it sounds like the ideas come more higher up than Pellegrini. But at the same point, if Pellegrini knew about it and has lied to the press, it's going to have a knock-on effect with the fan base, because of that, because he's said one thing and the club have done another. So that will start bringing up the divide again between the people that back the managers and the people that back up the owners. It's going to start with that again, and that's what I don't like about it. If Pellegrini had come out and said, I mean, if that is legitimately what he's thinking, then fair enough. That if it was a move that was about which he didn't really know about, then fair enough. Like we had with Payet's movement towards a certain degree, but also at the same point, if Pellegrini knew about.
I've completely lost you on my end.
I know, mate. I know. It just went then. But
okay.
Yeah, some really funny, strange things going on tonight. But as I say, it is literally just a case of Pellegrini at some point is going to have to come out and be honest, and either say that he knew about it or that he didn't, because there's a lot of here and there between it. It really is strange. Okay, so coming on to this season. Over the last 4 games, so how do you feel that we did against Man City?
I never went to Man City expecting us to win. If we were able to scrape a draw, it would have been incredible. First game of the season, coming back to it, drawing against arguably one of the best teams in the world, would have been a great day out. I never thought we would lose quite as bad as we did. A lot of the conversation after that game, it's Man City. What do you expect? I'd be very surprised if Man City go out against sort of mid-table lower league clubs this week and this season and go out and keep scoring and winning 5-0. They're not going to do that very often. And us being quite a strong mid-table team, I really think we should have been keeping that scoreline down more. The first half, I thought actually we played a really, really good game. From where I was saying, actually, this is looking. I can take positives out of this, and then for some reason, I think that just sort of fell apart in the second half, and we obviously paid the price for it because we lost it 5-0. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I mean,
all right. it couldn't really have gone worse. Could have gone slightly better, I'd say.
yeah, I mean, from my point of view, and a lot of people's point of view as well, we went toe for toe for them for the first 20 minutes. Absolutely played out of our skins against them. The same way that we played against Norwich, but that was just for the full 90. But like you say, they are one of the best teams in the world, 100%. So we were never we're never going to get back to...
again. Oh, there's a bit of movement.
Right, can you hear me now? Well, you've frozen on my end, so something's going on. Something's going on. It's weird, but yes, with Man City, it is definitely it's a free ride, for lack of a better way of putting it. It's just that they are one of the best teams in the world, and we're never going to get back to the times where we're going to get a point out of them. At least not for a good few years, anyway. But they're just too strong. They are way too strong. So let's come to the Brighton game. So what did you feel about that 1-1 draw that we had with them?
I didn't get to see much of the Brighton game. The Brighton game so far has been the only one that I've not been to. I can't remember what I was doing on that day, but I was dead busy. I think I was working all day and it was a bit of a nightmare. Mm-hmm. But from my other half's uncle is a season ticket holder at Brighton. And I didn't get the normal text I get when we've turned up at Brighton and not played very well. I got the text the next day instead, which normally means that we were probably a better team, but I really didn't get to see it, so I wouldn't be able to say anything. From what I hear, I think maybe VAR helped us a little bit, but that's a completely different conversation, and I don't know. It's the long and the short of it.
Okay. Well, while you're talking about it, mate, I'd be interested to get your thoughts on VAR. I mean, how do you feel about the technology?
I like it and I don't. Last season, you'd have found me going, "Whoa, well done. What's that? That's ref. That's wrong, mate. You can't be doing that." And then going, VAR's coming in. Well, that will change the game a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then obviously, I'm back at the home ground for City, and we've got the first. I think the stand-up bit of VAR was the penalty for me, where Fabs made the stop, and I was beyond ecstatic. That was the best bit of the game for me. And then all of a sudden we're stood up looking and we're waiting to see if it's been checked again, and it completely killed that sort of atmosphere within the stadium. But then when I've seen VAR used and I've been sat in the pub, it's completely different because we're looking at it happen again. So I like it in the sense that it's a bit more right when it's used sort of a little bit more leniently, when we're not seeing like, oh, his fingernail's offside there, so let's call that one. No goal, fella, sorry. But when it's used sort of like a little bit better, I think looking back now, I'd probably rather take a controversial decision from a ref than have that sort of moment of like, oh yeah, we scored, to, oh wait, have we scored, to, oh we haven't, and sort of slowing down the pace of the game. It's a juggle until it's sort of found its place of working maybe a little bit better, or being, it's just one of them. Really.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
the stupid thing about VAR is, and not to echo the majority of the pundits of what they've been saying, but I've legitimately been a really big advocate of VAR since the World Cup last year. I really have stuck to my guns about it, because the World Cup showed how great the technology can be and how stupid the decisions can be at the same point, because the technology is there to reinforce what the rules are. Now, because of it, the rules, everybody was under the misapprehension that VAR was going to get us points. They
yeah,
thought, right, the game's going to be balanced and it's going to get us better points. It's not there to bias anybody. It's there
no,
to uphold the rules. Which, if, for example, and as I said to Nicky at West Ham Fan TV when I talked to him after the Man City game, VAR, and I forgot to say this to Ryan when I spoke to him after the Norwich game. VAR has to be more consistent. They have to stay. You can't put it's the whole, like, for example, the penalty shout for Allaire. Now, when I can understand why it didn't go to review, because when we watched it live, I didn't think it was a penalty, because it just looked like a coming together and nothing more. Watching it back on the replay from the ref's perspective, 100% a penalty, no question, absolutely no question. And that itself is the problem. Is the fact that it's because it's there, it's not being used in the right way. The first couple of weeks they used it for everything, and now they're not using it for enough. That's what I'm saying about it has to be consistent. They have to give a reasonable answer as to what they're going to be using it for.
yeah,
Just jumping in the chat very quickly. Kevin Locke has confirmed that Chica's social media account showed he wasn't sick or injured. He had to go. Club kept it quiet, but the right decision. Excuse me, the right decision. Yes, Kevin, I agree with you 100%. Eric Conklin says, I believe the club makes up those illness and injury stories as an excuse to the fans for keeping the player out before the sale. Pretty much, Eric. Yes, I definitely agree with you on that one, mate. And who was it? It's Riley one. Yes, I can see you, mate, but for some reason the new streaming software isn't showing the comments tonight, so I have to use my phone to see what everybody's talking about. And blah, 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 blah. So Ian Gallagher, we'll ask you. We'll come back to your question, mate. Mark DJ Blokey says everyone needs to accept that this is the first season for VAR and it's going to take some time to get the decisions quicker. Yep, agreed. Except the fact it's not going to work 100% this season. I mean, I think it means accept rather than accept. And it's that Mark. I can't put it any better than how you've put it, mate. It is literally well, technically it's the second season, because, as I say, it was used in the World Cup. But from a domestic point of view, yes, it's definitely, and there's teething problems. There's always going to be teething problems. Right. So, Mr. Jake, let's talk about your first away game, Watford.
yes.
The 3-1 victory. The floor is yours, mate. Go for it.
Well, it was a mad one that I even managed to get there, to be honest. I'd done, I think it was like 12 days on the trot at work, and I was completely knackered. I had a weekend off coming up, and I was like, right, I'm doing something. I'm going away. I'm doing something fun for this weekend off. I need a proper break. So I put out on Twitter asking if anybody had any spare tickets for what. There weren't any coming through. Then I remembered I've got a friend who lives in London who I've not seen for a while. So I was like, well, into London, then at least if I don't get a ticket on the day, I've got a full back and I can go, because I'll be staying with her anyway. I'll just spend more of the day with her than I would have done if I went. And then
I hope she's not listening to this at the moment, mate.
Sorry?
I said, I hope she's not listening, that she was your number 2 contingency.
She knew. She knew what I was there for. She was all right with it. But yeah, so I left work the night before, and I got a text off somebody on Twitter who from I don't know. Can you names about people helping out with tickets anymore? I don't know what the deal is with club and selling tickets on now, but
Yeah, you can obviously say their first names, but don't give out their email addresses or anything, mate. So
full addresses. But yeah, Vinny, who obviously I'm now actually quite good friends with on Twitter, he said his dad wasn't able to go and he had a free ticket, and he saw that I'd already bought my tickets on the train up to London, and was like, "Well, I'm gonna have to offer it to him first because that's mental." And yeah, so I hopped on the tube, met Vinny outside of the Spoons in Watford, went in, had a couple of drinks, immediately it was boiling that day, and I'm not built for heat at all. And then yeah, carried on, went to the game, and for me that was the first sort of ground that I've been to, which is situated in the middle of houses and shops, and it was like, what? Because the only other grounds I've been to, obviously, are the London Stadium and Hewish Park, Yeovil's ground, and Yeovil's quite set away around loads of fields and everything.
just to interrupt you there, Jake. Just to interrupt you before people
Yep.
jump on you in the comments for saying that Jake never went to the bowling, so he isn't used to walking down a high street with going to for 36,000 fans all at once. He's not used to that, so don't jump on him, guys. Really, please don't.
Yeah,
Go on,
I
mate.
wasn't lucky enough for that one. But yeah, so we sort of go in, and we were quite close. I think we were 4 rows back from the front to the, well, obviously we were to the left hand side, and we just sort of get in, and there's already this huge atmosphere from the other away fans behind us, and I was like, oh, this is something else. And the game starts, and really, I've never been around football where there's been that much energy and that much sort of, for want of a better word, and without sounding all fancy about it, it was really sort of, I completely forgot the word I was going to use. A lot of passion from behind, and everybody was really sort of like, you know, we're here for a reason. Let's do this. And it was just such a great day out. It completely knackered me. I then had to get the tube from Watford all the way down to, what's it called? Somewhere else. I had to go through sort of Millwall territory, and then just beyond down from there. And I'm surprised I didn't fall asleep on the tube because I was just exhausted. But it was a great day out, a really, really good day out. And I met quite a few people who, it's quite strange being sat in Spoons in a place I've never been to, turning around and going, that's so-and-so from Twitter, that's so-and-so from Twitter. Spoke to them on the internet before, that's strange. And just sort of knowing these people who I've never met before. But it was such a brilliant day out. And to be honest, even if it had been a bad result, I'd have still probably come away saying this was brilliant. This has been the best day out. But the fact that we got the result really just was the cherry on top of that little away day cake.
Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. It is. I've done a few away games myself, and they are an absolute great day out. They are great fun, and that's the thing. You know, you bump into people that you'd never thought you'd bump into. Like, for example, the Fulham away friendly, I bumped into a lot of people that I wasn't expecting to see. Because that's it's and everyone come up and say, hi, how are you? Good to see you, blah blah blah. You know, because we're it's an extended family, especially when you see faces on a regular basis. You know, and I'm just like again, you mate are a bloody lucky penny the way this is going, right? Because you've seen Declan score twice, and your away game this season we actually had a very, very good result against Watford where we don't normally. So yeah, you are a lucky bloody penny, mate. So keep your head shaved because that's obviously doing something right. The comments are back in the chat now, so that is great. I'm very, very glad to see it. Lawrence has asked a very, very strange question here. Don't suppose you noticed if Southern Comfort was on offer? I'm not really sure if, because some of the comments are coming through, but I'm guessing I'm guessing that's referring to some the Weatherspoons, which is probably nearer the point. And obviously, just bringing it a little bit more up to date now. The the Norwich game, the 2-0. Did you manage to watch
Yeah,
it or listen to it?
yeah, I was there again
Oh, brilliant!
for the Norwich game. It's only been Brighton that I've missed so far this season. That's completely about to change because I've absolutely overspent money this month, and it's probably going to be a while until I find myself back at any sort of stadium. But yeah, I was up there for the Brighton game, and really I was going there and looking at the way they sort of have turned up. They've not maybe necessarily got the results they wanted, but they've really been sort of playing a good side of football. Where I was looking at them thinking, this could be a major upset sort of thing. I was expecting sort of a scoreline of like 3-2s or like 4-3s, and there being not much in it at all because we're somewhat lacking defensively. They're somewhat lacking defensively. Yet both of our attacks were looking quite strong. And then we get there on the day, and it was just a complete different story. As we saw, I think really we just sort of ran absolute riot around them. Anderson, he was just something else on the day. And yeah, obviously we walked away with the 3 points, another 2 goals, another goal for Big Seb, as I like to call him. And yeah, it was another great day out, and another great result where thinking it could possibly have gone the other way.
That's what everybody was worried about. I, for one, said it was going to be a 2-2 draw.
Yeah.
You're right. There's a lot of people saying it was going to be a 5-4, 3-2, all that sort of stuff. Purely, just like you said, purely because how Norwich have been playing of the 3 games. You know, they played very well against Liverpool. It was quite ironic actually that their first shot on target since Adrian got between the pins and between the posts, sorry, and they score. I thought, here we go. As Adrian's back to his usual. Likewise with Chelsea, they played very well with Chelsea. You know, Pookie got goal and an assist out of that game, and nothing was doing. They ended up losing.
And say you're cutting up a fair bit on my end again, so I've not really heard much of that. If that was a question.
Yeah, no. It's just you know, that Norwich were playing very, very well. They're playing absolutely brilliantly, as you said. You know, they were the only game that they won was the Newcastle, and they lost everything other than that. So, and then we rock up as West Ham, and you've frozen on my side now.
It does keep sounding like it's going to come back, and then it completely turns back into a robot.
But yeah, you know, because you're freezing quite a lot on my side, mate. I don't know what's going on with this. But cool. Jake, can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, Jake, can you hear me, mate? Can you see me talking? Oh, he's gone. It's disappeared. See if we can get him back. Hang on 2 seconds, guys. Talk amongst yourselves, won't you? Oh. There you go, mate. You all right?
I'm all right. Yeah.
Yeah, just completely disappeared for some random reason there.
Yeah. Right. Hopefully that sorted it out. I'm not in a box anymore.
That's it. Yeah. So
maybe that's what it was.
The big fish, little fish, gobble box stuff, eh? So yeah, so basically what we were just talking about, as I say, for Norwich, they've been playing brilliantly. You know, they were very hard done by against Chelsea. Very good win for them against Newcastle. And as a result, because I say Pookie had 5 goals in 3 games beforehand, and just, you know, really just worrying times again. But because the West Ham way is that when a team isn't playing very well, when the team isn't playing very well, we will just absolutely bend over.
I did completely lose you there for a little bit. The only thing I really got out of that was the 5 goals in 3 games. So I mean, Pookie, I think is how you pronounce it. I don't know. I always get worried when I pronounce people's names. A lot of people, obviously, because I'm quite a big fan of my fantasy Premier League. I'm doing brilliantly this season. And all my mates were like, "Yeah, we're getting Pookie in. And he's going to do bits." And I was like, "Oh yeah, well, you might, but I don't see it happening. Not against us." And I was actually terrified. I was like, "It's happening. It's us. He's never hat trick. Go on, fella. Why not?" And honestly, I was quite surprised he didn't score. I got something along the lines of Norwich being hard done by, and then what sounded like Chelsea. I didn't get to see that game because I was in the Spoons beer garden with this score. I was like, "Whoa, hang on a minute, this is really quite something else." And yeah, they were, what it seems, unlucky not to come away with a point there at that game. I think really all three of the sides that have come up through promotion this season have actually put a shift in and aren't looking as bad as I'd expect them to be.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, my granddad was talking to me the other week. He's a Norwich fan, bless him. And excuse me, things going down then, and wouldn't want to guess because I look terribly wrong come the end of the season.
Well, that's the whole point, though, mate. Give your opinions on stuff. I mean, that's what we love about football so much, is the fact that, especially the Premier League, because anything can happen and anything can't happen at the same point. It's absolutely brilliant. That's what we love about it. Did you see the story about Antonio earlier today, Jake?
Obviously, I was at Newport and saw that he had come off with what looked like some sort of can't remember what it was now, some sort of muscle injury in his leg. I've not seen any developments past the other couple of days where it said we were looking at maybe 3 to 4 months of his scans, I think it was, but I've not seen any updates today.
Yeah, it was confirmed on JakeWHU, which unfortunately Antonio is going to be out for 4 to 5 months because he's picked up what is known as a grade 3 hamstring injury, which is going to require surgery. For those who don't know the grades, because to be honest, I didn't know the grades until recently. That are great. Jake, is everything all right, mate? There's quite a lot of clicking going on there. Is everything all right?
You were breaking up a little bit, but I think we're back on track. Your image has sort of slowed down on my end, but it just seems like a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, with Antonio, he's out for 4 to 5 months with a grade 3 hamstring injury, which basically means that a grade 1 is a mild muscle pull or strain, which is when you see him hobbling about, but they come straight back on the pitch. Grade 2 is a partial muscular tear, which basically has swelling and bruising, and what he's had is a complete muscle tear, which is the grade 3. It really is bad for him, unfortunately. And Mark is saying in there as well, gutted for Antonio, but just our luck. Now, Mark, it's interesting you say that, mate, because we've got I've looked at some information, right? And the funny thing is the website that I use for the injuries when I'm doing my preview videos is the fact that there's only 4 teams in the Premier League with the same amount. Sorry, 3 other teams, I should say, in the Premier League that have the same amount of injuries as we do, which is Sheffield United, Everton, and oh God, I have to pick this up now. It was, where are we? It was Sheffield. Where are we? So yeah, we've Watford, Everton, and Sheffield United all have 2 players out injured. Everybody else has got a lot more than we do. So it's not really our luck from that side of things, mate. But it's good at the same. But because all we've got out at the moment is Reed and Antonio. So that's perfectly fine from our point of view. We're not having the usual 4 or 5 injuries that we have at the minute that we normally have at this time of the season. Jake, what do you think about Lanzini renewing his contract for an extra 2 years up to 2023?
I was just beyond happy about it. I think I've only really been able to see him myself, like, properly coming back from injury last season. But from what I understand and from what I've seen on his day, he can be just something else. And yeah, I think I'm obviously happy that he signed on this contract and he's saying, yeah, here's another couple of years. For me, what I really enjoyed from that was seeing how much he actually believes in the club, how much he loves us as fans, how much he loves being at the club and calling it home. To see a player like Lanzini coming out and saying stuff like that, that to me is way more exciting than it could be if he'd have said, have another 5 years, have another 10 years. It was just to see that a player of his sort of loves being at West Ham and isn't saying, oh, well, they're getting Champions League over there. He wants to stay with us. That was always the best part of a player signing a contract extension for me.
Yeah, I mean, agreed 100%. When you see him score, he always runs over to the same section of the crowd all the time because he must have his family in there or something. Because he's always doing it. He's I love Lanzini. I mean, one of the reasons why Pablo Fornals was brought in was to play alongside him. And I really can't wait for those. I really can't wait to see those two properly play a full 90 minutes together because they are very exciting midfielders as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely can't wait for it. Eric Conklin has made a very, very interesting comment in there. Oh yeah, I'll put that up. We usually lead the league in injuries. Yes, Eric, we normally do. Normally it's right at the start of this season. Right at the start of the season, we normally do as well. But he's also put up a very, very interesting comment. Antonio is 30. This could end his career. There's Eric. That's a very, very good shout, mate. Very, very good shout because there is a distinct possibility that could happen. Unfortunately, and Eric's saying third in 2 years. Right, yeah, because he's referring to Mark's comment. His third hamstring injury. Yes, it is. Unfortunately, it really, really is a bit of a bad one. Now, talking of the players as well, Jake, how do you feel about Diangana being down down at West Brom on loan?
At the beginning of this, talking to my mates, we were talking about sort of Diangana and we were talking about Nathan Trott as well, having seen him at the under-23s match at Yeovil and seeing the goalkeeper replacements we've got coming in. And I said, yeah, I would love to see Diangana go out on loan to maybe a League One Championship side because he can, and he's proven that he can every now and again hold his own in the Premier League. He's just not quite there yet. So if he goes out to a team just a little bit below us or maybe 2 leagues below us, he's going to completely just own that league. He's really something else. And yeah, from what I've seen, he's gone out there and he's doing bits. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that builds him as a player and eventually getting him back and seeing how much he's changed and how he can perform in one of our shirts. I think it's a good move for him for now, and it will hopefully pay off for us in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's scored 3 goals in 4 games so far, and because of it, he's had an under-21s call up as well, which I'm really happy for the bloke. But you're absolutely right, mate. It's definitely something that he really has to see how he gets on, how he builds up his physique, because there's no better league to do it in than either the Premier League or the Championship. So you're absolutely spot on with that one, mate. Talking of the whole England connection, because obviously on Saturday evening is the first of the 2 England games. Jake, have you seen the new England squad?
Look at it, but other than that, I've been dead busy and not really.
Sorry, mate. We we all work hard. Well, most of us do anyway.
Yeah, I try to.
So because what I thought was we'll just talk about quickly because I'm doing a preview on Thursday night for the England game, but we'll let's have a look at because if you said you had a look at it quickly, let's have a look. Some of you guys that were on right at the start, I've had a bit of technical issue, and you saw the team sheet that the squad lineup come up at the beginning, but so let's talk about it now. So we've got Trent Alexander-Arnold from Liverpool, Ross Barkley from Chelsea, Ben Chilwell from Leicester, Joe Gomez from Liverpool, Tom Heaton from Villa, Jordan Henderson from Liverpool, Harry Kane from the Enemy, Michael Keane from Everton, Jesse Lingard from Man United, James Maddison from Leicester, Harry Maguire from Man U, Tyrone Mings from Villa, Mason Mount from Chelsea, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain from Liverpool, Jordan Pickford from Everton, Nick Pope from Burnley, Marcus Rashford from Man United, Declan Rice has been called back into there again, Danny Rose from Spurs, Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund, Raheem Sterling from City, Kieran Trippier from Atletico Madrid, Aaron Wan-Bissaka from Man United, Callum Wilson from AFC Bournemouth, and Harry Winks from Spurs, aka the Enemy. So, Jake, what are your thoughts on that squad for England?
I think a standout thing to talk about in that squad is the youth element of it.
Yeah.
Just from looking at it quickly, then we've got a couple more youngsters coming up into the squad, which for me is really, really exciting. And I love a good story of a youth player coming through and doing bits, or sort of wherever they are, really. If Declan Rice was over in the Bundesliga and was doing well, I'd probably be going, "Cool, that's interesting. I like that." That's a real pinnacle of football for me, is seeing these youngsters grow up, because they're younger than me, and I sit on my arse most of the day watching football. They go out and play it all the time, and then they're playing for England, and someone like me's got their name on the back of their shirt. That to me is great. I think it's a bit of jealousy that makes me so interested in a youngster's story. That's the thing that excites me most about looking at that England squad, is the sort of youth talent we're bringing up through, and it's time to get excited about, really, because they're going to be the future of the England squad we're seeing, and what they can do from sort of a younger age is just exciting for me.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%, mate. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day when the squad was announced. I love Southgate. He's bringing in a proper manager's mindset to England. He's not doing what other managers have done beforehand, where they've gone out and just played the best players that are available, regardless of how they're actually playing or not. Then he's not picking the big names. He's picking players that deserve to be there. And one of the things that I'm really looking forward to with this game, these games coming up, is now obviously it always makes the papers when good mates from either side are playing against each other. But Declan Rice and Mason Mount together, mates since the Chelsea academy days, that will be brilliant to see those two on the pitch together. It will be absolutely brilliant. And Mason Mount is playing very, very well for Chelsea this season. Lampard's given him the nod, and it's brilliant. It's really, really working out for him. I'm over the moon about it myself. I really am over the moon.
Like I say, I love seeing the youngsters come up and making some sort of a success story. But Mason Mount, bless him, he's sort of come back off loan, and they've said, "Oh, you know that Eden Hazard fella, he's gone. So you're going to go where he was and have fun." And he's doing a blinding job to fill that position after someone like Eden Hazard, and to not have bad press and be doing a terrible job. For a youngster, he's done a fantastic job. And he's from a different club, la-di-da and all that. Sorry, I got low power mode came up on my phone. He's from a different club, and it's a little bit wrong to go, "Oh yeah, well, I kind of like him though." But I just love a little success story of anyone who's younger than me and making me look older and fatter than I am.
Yeah, mate, dude, mate, I'm 40 next year. Imagine how I bloody feel. There are managers younger than me in football now. Not many, granted, not many, but there are. You know, Lampard's a year older than me, which and fair play to the bloke. Who else is it? Huddersfield's manager, the German guy. He's 2 years younger than me. That makes me feel old. It really does make me feel old. It really does. Mark has made a great statement here. The England squad is showing how much promise, so much promise, but how many times have we said it before? But having said that, I'm excited about this squad. Yes, mate. Yeah, agree with you, Mark. 100%. Kevin Locke's made quite a good comment there. Prediction 2022: West Ham win the World Cup for the second time. I don't think Rice is going to single-handedly take on everybody else, but. Rice captains the squad and is injured by fellow West Ham teamer. I think it means teammate with that one. Here we go. Yep, he's corrected it. So yeah, West Ham win the World Cup with Rice as captain, joined by West Ham Academy teammates. It'd be nice.
I mean, you can see it now, can't you? You've got Declan Rice holding the World Cup in the air, being up on the shoulders of the likes of Nathan Trott and Dean Garner and Nathan Holland there, just picking him up, saying, "Go on, fella, that's our next action."
And then he fucks off to Real Madrid. Yeah,
yeah.
No, I can't say it. I think Noble's influence on him is way too much for him to move.
I don't know if you've seen the quote going around recently, actually, where he said, obviously, because he grew up as a Chelsea fan, he was in their academy, got expelled from that, and he's ended up at West Ham. But now he says, his family are just West Ham now, and it's something completely different here. And it's his, if I'm probably misquoting him, but it says it's something along the lines of home now. And for a kid, because he has to know that there's going to be big clubs sniffing around him. And I like to believe that he's not just saying that to keep us happy whilst he tries to find the best one. I do genuinely believe that if all goes well, we could be seeing another Nobes out of Declan, and I'd love to see it myself. I think he's brilliant. He's going to end up being, if he follows Nobes the way he's following him now, he's going to be a cracking captain for us, and he's going to be a cracking captain for England one day.
Mate, I really hope he will be. I really, really hope he will be. He's got all the promise, but we've got to keep it under the boil at the moment because everyone's losing it again because he's back in the England squad. You're right. He's the statement he came out saying that his whole family were Chelsea since he got released, and he came to us. He's hardly ever gone to they've hardly gone to any Chelsea games at all because all are watching him play now. So they don't really. He's not that they're all West Ham from what I'm hearing. Edward Holditch, thank you very much for coming back in the chat, mate. I know you at the start of the season. We haven't been talking that long. At the start of the video, you did say that you wanted the channel to get to 1,100 subscribers, and we now have that, mate. So there's been a couple of subscribers that have subscribed during this video. So guys, thank you very much for doing that. 1,100 subscribers. It's ridiculous. I've had 100 subscribers in the case of a week and pretty much a week and a half since hitting the 1,000 subscribers mark. It's just been mental, but everybody seems to love when I do the live streams. It's great. It's really good fun.
There we go.
Kevin Locke says don't forget about Elise. Now, this is one thing I forgot to say about actually, Jake. I didn't make my notes for it. You said obviously that you went to see the under-23s. Did you ever get to see AG Elise play at all? If you knew who he is,
I'd love to be able to tell you he can play football, but other than Dan Kemp and Nathan Trott, I can't really remember. I sort of wrote that night off in my brain. Couldn't find a program anywhere, so I wasn't able to get it. I had to be back up at Leeds in the morning, so we sort of got there, watched, and then drove back up. So I don't done.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, mate, I haven't got any idea of who this kid is either. To be honest with you, because I don't really watch the kids' football as much as possible. But it's one of the things I do. But this takes up enough time in my life as it is without watching the under-21s. I mean, talking of which, the under-21s are playing tomorrow against Newport County in the was it the Dot Cup?
Of course, and the Checker Trade, is it?
That's the one, the Checker Trade Trophy. Yeah, that's the one. But just going back to Rice, it was interesting coming up with the same conversation that we were talking about earlier, literally a few minutes ago, that he said Rice confirmed that Villa, West Brom, and Notts Forest all wanted him on loan last season, and he was really pushing for the loan over to Villa. But Pellegrini obviously just went, no, I want you in the squad. Basically, how that came about was probably because he was pushing for it because of what happened against Liverpool at the start of last season, where he was taken off at half time, unjustifiably, but justifiably at the same point, and we didn't see him for 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, he thought his West Ham career was over from that game. That really hurt my heart when he came out saying that. But I'm glad he stayed. I'm absolutely glad he stayed around. And Pellegrini
couldn't be happier.
Pellegrini absolutely told him to stay. You're going absolutely nowhere. Really, really happy about that. Very happy. I mean, Jake, in your opinion, how do you feel that the defensive midfield role would be without Rice?
I think we'd be struggling, definitely. Don't get me wrong, I am not clued up at all on sort of footballing positions and where people should be playing, where they'd be best. I think for the job Declan does, he's the best man we've got. I purely for like what he can do on the pitch is brilliant, but his mentality and his sort of character that he brings with, you go and watch West Ham, he's the first person you see running around clapping the fans.
Yeah,
it's Declan Rice. The whistle goes, yeah, cheers other team, see you later. He's got time for the fans. One thing I noticed at the away game with Watford was whenever we scored, they'd come over, they'd celebrate, and whereas you got sort of a more general a celebration from most of the other players, Declan was he was with the crowd. He was celebrating not just for us as well as fans. I'd be worried if I looked at a team sheet and he wasn't starting, I think.
Oh, great. Mate, that's one of the things that hang on, I've got a message from Alfie Armstrong. Says, tell Jake from the live stream that's me, Alfie Armstrong from the Cider Hammers. So if you can see the comments there from Alfie Armstrong, I can't, to be honest with you, I haven't been able to see.
I can't see any.
Oh, here we go, mate. There he is. Check your Insta.
There we are.
Yeah, I've obviously.
I will do once I'm not streaming off my phone.
Welcome, Alfie. It's good to see you on board, mate. Thank you very much for watching. But yeah, so it's good again. The good old cider hammers, then, eh? The good old cider hammers, nice little drink.
The good old cider hammers.
And just
someone's got to look after me when I come to West Ham.
100%, mate. I mean, at the end of the day, the more mates. That's one of the things that I love about West Ham is this: you form friendships with people very, very quickly because you're all, like you said earlier, because you're all there for the same common purpose. And there's a lot of that. Well, 80% of the time.
We've got Kevin Locke, obviously, has been quite vocal in the chat, getting involved in the conversation today, talking about making friends and sort of stuff like that through football. Kevin was a lucky winner of BetWHU's competition. He won a hospitality box at Newport. Opened it out onto Twitter to say, look, if you're interested in coming, send me a message. I'll pull your name out of the hat. And it can only be described as sort of the weirdest night of my life, where I was like, right, okay, I'm getting on a train to Cardiff to meet 5 other guys that I've never met before, to then meet someone in a hospitality box to watch West Ham play on a Tuesday night against Newport. It was the weirdest scenario ever. But from that, we had such a great group of lads, and some of Kevin's family joined us. And without sort of West Ham or without Twitter and all that, that would have never have happened. Well, if he's still about,
he's still here, mate. He's still here by the looks of it.
Because it was.
He's still around. He put up this a couple of minutes ago. Said under 19 call up to England centre back with promise as good as Rio, only 18. Him and Ben Johnson, perfect pairing. Yes, Yeah, I'm guessing he's referring to Elise there by the looks of it. But yeah, I agree. That'd be great to have. Oh, Ben Johnson, I really can't wait to see. He had a very solid performance when he made his debut against City last season, and has been brilliant in pre-season. Very, very good competition for Ryan Fredericks, and also Creswell and Masuaku, of course. Because he can do either side. He's if I remember correctly, he's a right footer, so he's preferred at right back than left back. But yeah, he's a very, very versatile kid and such a young age as well. Talking of Masuaku, because you were mentioning about Anderson at Norwich a little earlier, Masuaku has said that one of the reasons why Anderson was playing so well was because him and a few other players were talking to him all week about the movements they want him to do and where he wants to get and the protection that he needs to give Masuaku when, if and when needed. And it paid off big time. It really paid off. Sorry, mate, you want to say something? Go on.
No. I was just moving. I got a numb arse over it.
I know, but that's about to say. But this is literally the last subject because we've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes, mate. So yeah, my arse is going to sleep as well. And as usual, there's late minute as well. Steve Hall, evening, John. Hello, mate. Nice to see you, Steve. We're literally clocking off in a couple of minutes, but you're more than welcome to go and watch the replay. Definitely go and watch the replay. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, Jake. The last thing I want to talk to us about, because we've been talking about the League Cup. It was confirmed earlier today that the Oxford United away game is going to be held on the 25th of September. That's the Wednesday. I think it's a 7:45 kickoff again. Tickets are on sale to bondholders and season ticket holders with 28 plus points. That rules me out. From basically, where are we? From Thursday. And then and then it steps down to 26th as well for Friday. Now the problem is the reason why I say it rules me out is one, my points are nowhere near big enough for that, and two, we've only got an allocation of 1,247. So it's going to go quick. It's going to go absolutely ridiculously quick. Are you gonna? What are you thinking about for Oxford away, mate? Do you want to see the same sort of strong squad, or do you reckon there's going to be a bit of rotation again?
I always want to see a strong squad when it comes to cup games, because I think whilst I'm very confident that we're going to sit safe of relegation, somewhere mid-table, and it's the second year of Pellegrini being here. Let's go for a cup before we start going for Europe, because if we can have a decent cup run, then that prepares us for the next season to have a decent European run, maybe, and have that going alongside league games. So yeah, I'd like to see a strong squad. I thought the squad that we put was really actually stronger than I expected.
Yeah, it was stronger than everybody expected.
Something a little bit more like that, I think. I'd be quite happy to see that sort of squad put out again, and then quite swiftly in cups, getting close to having a first team out and seeing that if we can sort of lift the goods at the end, which would be fantastic to see.
There we go. There's really nice comment from Mark DJ Blokey. Make sure you go to all the games this season, Jake. You sound like a lucky fella. So yeah, I told you.
I've only seen the only one that thought you were lucky penny.
So Jake, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Sunshine. I didn't expect us to be talking this long, but then again, at the same point, these podcasts normally last about an hour and a half anyway. But yeah, thank you very much for coming on, mate. It has been a genuine pleasure. A lot of people seem to have enjoyed the conversations as well. And the nice thing is that now we're hitting literally like 1,100 people. The amount of time I've been doing these, we've got a nice little community of people coming on every single live stream, talking to each other and talking to us. It's brilliant. I absolutely love it. It's more than. Thank you very much to everybody that's been going through it. As I say, we've had a couple of technical difficulties. Jake, to be honest with you, mate, nobody said in the chat that they were having any problems. So it may be just between the pair of us only, by the looks of it. But guys, thank you very, very much for watching this. If you're new around here and enjoying the conversation, welcome, and thank you very much for sticking through us. We've had quite a lot. We've had an average of about 16, 17 people watch this live stream. So there's obviously a few people who haven't got much to do tonight, as well as you and me. But for everybody that's been watching, thank you very much for your time. And if you enjoy what we've been doing, then by all means, please subscribe and also hit the notification bell so you get to know when the new videos and live streams are going up. Now, of course, as I said earlier, there's going to be a preview for the England game, because I'm hoping to be able to do a live watch with, even though it's on terrestrial telly and it's at Wembley. I'm going to still do it because I want to try and do some more live watch with, because they're great fun, really good fun. So guys, thank you very much for your time. If you like the video, then by all means, please click the like button. I mean, Jake might have to do it because it's nearer his point than I wouldn't do it that way, mate. But yeah, it looks like you're trying to get people to go somewhere else rather than the like button. But yeah, thank you very much. Anybody watching the replay, then by all means put your comments down in the comment section below, and of course share this video. Also try and share this with anybody that you feel may want to watch the channel as well. If you want to get in contact with me, you can reach me as Jake did on Twitter at JPWHUTV. There is a Facebook group and also a Facebook channel page under JPWHUTV. On the Facebook channel, I'm doing exclusive roundups for the fantasy league table. So guys, go check those out. If anybody wants to join into the league, then by all means use this fantasy league code here. We've got 65 people in the league table at the moment, so it goes a lot quicker. It's a few more people seem to be joining up every few days, so the videos get longer and longer. But it's great. I do a roundup for everybody. But thank you very much for everybody thank you very much to everybody that's lasted this long. It's been absolutely brilliant talking to you all. And as I say, I will see you on Thursday. By the way, guys, I've got some very, very good news for yourselves. Just before we clock off, I've got some confirmed guests coming up. Obviously, next Tuesday is the England game. So again, I'm going to try and do a live stream for that on Watch With. And also the Tuesday after that, JakeWHU Upal, who's actually had a chat in there a couple of times. He's been a regular on West Ham Fan TV over the last couple of seasons. He's coming on. We're going to have relatively the same sort of conversation that Jake and I've had. But the penultimate Tuesday of September, which is the 24th, Ryan Archer from West Ham Fan TV has agreed to come on. So we're going to have him on. So guys, you're going to really want to have a please don't miss that, because I think it's going to be an absolutely fantastic conversation with him. He's one of the guys that has inspired me to do what I'm doing, so it's going to be an absolute honor to talk to him. But obviously I spoke to him after the Norwich game on West Ham Fan TV, but he'd be live and uncut, as Nicky likes to say, and we'll have a very, very in-depth conversation. So in the meantime, guys, enjoy the rest of what's left of your night, and I will see you guys on Thursday at some point. All the best now. Take care.